Order. Thank you all. Roll call's been taken, I presume?
Yes.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of the 14:07:16 regular meeting. Move approval, please.
Second.
Thank you. Second. Any corrections, changes, or adjustments to the minutes? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is election of officers. And you have in your packet a, you don't, just me, I'm the only one who has this, so you can't see it. Yeah. Oh, I'll show it to you here.
That's right, I don't see it now.
The first office to be identified is that of the president. Do we have a motion for someone to be on the commission to be president?
I'll make the motion for Andy Keel for president.
Thank you. Are there any other nominees?
I second.
Thank you. Any other nominees? Hearing none, do we have a motion? Is that a motion?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you for your vote of, I hate to say confidence because I know better. The next item, or the next office that we have to fill is vice president. Do we have nominations for vice president?
I make a motion that we nominate Mike Myers.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Are there other nominees? Other nominations? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The office of secretary is the last of the positions to be filled. Do we have nominations for secretary?
I'll make the motion for Nate Miller.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, we have a second. Are there any other nominees? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Congratulations to all three of the old office holders.
I'm assuming the pay will be the same for the next year.
No, it's to be increased by $385. Isn't that what the city? I see, okay. We'll just leave that one fly.
We could double that because we work harder.
I see. I don't want to go there either.
Gordy, I think you do a hell of a job. I appreciate your service.
You're a good man.
My ultimate goal after I get off the council is to be on this commission.
I tell you, there's a guy in a green sport coat, you can have the job. Anybody else got a green sport coat? We'll talk. Peggy can make that happen.
Not this year, Terry, because I'm the council president.
This week. By Friday. Limited time off.
Terry, you're getting a little edgy here, aren't you? Next item on our agenda is the approval of the police department bills.
Good morning. Two sets of bills in front of you. One signed by Commissioner Gershman on the 6th of April, the other one by Commissioner Keogh on the 20th of April. There's a couple things to bring to your attention. On 5G, there's a catering bill that is for our leadership in police organizations training that's been ongoing for the last, 2 months. The third week of this 3-week training is this upcoming week. We're getting reimbursed for that catering through the state of Wisconsin. Also on 5G was the spaying or fixing of our K9 Steffi, our newest K9. 5H, some repairs to one of our other K9H's kennel. We learned that H actually stands for Houdini instead of whatever else it stood for, because he has a tendency to escape out of his kennel, whether it's climbing out or busting through. We believe that these repairs will fix Houdini and not allow him to escape again. And then on 5J, there's a purchase for a 40 millimeter launcher. This was just one of those steps that we had taken earlier in the year, decided to take earlier in the year for equipping each of our squads with those impact munitions or beanbag rounds. We purchased 2 of these 40 millimeter launchers, and then we're using the existing shotguns we have in our inventory as the remaining beanbag launchers. Be happy to answer any questions, otherwise look for your approval.
Second. We have a motion, we have a second to approve the police department bills. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to have do a roll call. Myers.
Yes.
Gershman.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Keo, yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Wouldn't you think of all the city agencies, the police department could keep something in a cage? Seems odd. Approval of the fire department bills.
I'm not sure I want to go through this. If this is going.
Go ahead.
You've got in front of you 2 sets of bills. Both of them were signed by Commissioner Keo. Only a couple things here really to bring to your attention. One is on page 5C. You'll see something from 5 Alarm Fire. What that is for our yearly testing for our self-contained breathing apparatus, both the whole apparatus as well as the face pieces.
I'm assuming you meant 6C.
Did I say 5C? 6C.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And the other is on page, I don't have the page number, 6. It's a little farther on in the next set. It's for our Mid-State Tech. It's our EMS, our basic and paramedic refresher, which we have every other year. So that was for about $18,000. Those are the only 2 things to really bring to notice. The other stuff is pretty much standard. I'll entertain any questions and ask for your approval.
Comments or questions? Move to approve?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Roll call vote. Myers?
Yes.
Gershman?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Keo, yes. Thank you, chiefs. Police Department activities, training reports, and correspondence package. Chief?
Yeah, we had quite a busy month for the month of April. Just a couple things I'll highlight. On the 6th of April, we started our Citizens Academy. We just finished our 4th week of that Citizens Academy. We have 17 participants. There's 2 more weeks remaining. Next week, we take the group out to our firearms range, and they get to go through a safety presentation and then shoot our firearms if they choose to. And then the final week is on ordnance control and then the graduation. They've already covered this week was Detective Bureau. Previous to that, it was a canine and drug presentation. We had SWAT and patrol operations, and then the first night was auxiliary and just kind of an orientation to what they were to expect. So very good feedback that we've received from that. On the 7th of April, we had a citywide EAP meeting and had a couple of vendors come in. We had discussed this last year when we were looking at budgeting for the employee assistance program, something that we didn't have. Now we're looking at having a citywide program, hopefully starting by July 1st. So that was a meeting that was well attended by department heads. Myself and Sergeant Esser on the 14th of April went to a ministry security training up in Wausau, and this was just how to secure our churches in the community and how to get on board with the various congregations as it relates to making sure that people are feeling safe and secure, and certain risks are being addressed within the churches. On the 20th of April, Jason Zaleski came through and was touring many places throughout the city, but he stopped in for about 2 hours at the police department, and him and I sat down, had a good conversation. I gave him a tour of the police department, showed him some of our equipment, and it was a very valuable 2 hours with him. On the 27th of April, we did a Coffee with a Cop, program or session up at Bigby Coffee. Sergeant Gurink and Officer Kramer, Landon Kramer, were up at Bigby and met with, I think, between 5 and 7 various community members that just kind of for a question and answer and just making ourselves available for a PR opportunity. And that's something we're going to try to do on at least a monthly basis at various locations throughout the city. Then kind of the 28th through the 30th of April it's kind of when we sort through and collect our pharmaceuticals throughout this city and ultimately transport them up to Wausau to be disposed of in St. Louis. But over the last 6 months, we collected 726 pounds of pharmaceuticals at the police department, and then we also go around to a lot of the CBRFs and nursing homes and such to make those collections as well. So that was one of our larger collections at 726 pounds. We do that sorting twice a year, so we're right around that 1,400 or 1,500 pounds of collection on an annual basis. On the 29th and 30th, we were also at Shopko and at the clinic here in town, just doing some citywide, advertised, and statewide collections. In those 2 days, we collected 185 pounds of pharmaceuticals, bringing our grand total since May of 2006 when we began collecting to 9,564 pounds. So we've, and that's with assistance from Groundwater Guardians and Marshfield Utilities and Walgreens and Shopko and a couple other places throughout the community that have really stepped up and assisted us. Millador Groundwater Guardians is part of this as well. So it's definitely a good thing that we'd like to see continue. The only other thing I'll bring to your attention, in the packet on 7J, we received a check from Wisconsin Surplus for a little over $3,000 for the sale of, or for the auction of one of our Impalas. I believe we only have 2 left in our fleet, and those are the ones that the police school liaison officers are driving. We'll probably look at changing those out within the next year or two. But again, it goes to show you when we sell the Impalas, we're receiving about $3,000 for them. When we're selling the 2-wheel drive Tahoes, we're getting right around between $10,000 and $13,000 for them, depending on the condition and the amount of miles on those vehicles. 2 more things I'd just like to real briefly bring to your attention, just with activities and I guess new things happening. Just an update on the armored rescue vehicle. We're still on the list. We've been told that possibly within the next month or 2 is when our number will come up. There's some departments that are taking delivery of these who are told ahead of time, and pretty much the rest of these rescue vehicles have delaminated windshields, which means that the windshields will need to be replaced on them. That could be a costly venture. Sometimes it ranges anywhere from $10,000 to $13,000 for the 2 windshields and then the side windows. We do have another option though. There's some armored rescue vehicles in New Jersey that we could also get. Same size, same everything except for these have the turret on the top, which could be removed, but it's the same size of vehicle, and these don't have the delaminated windshields. So it's, from what I'm understanding, the delivery charge or the shipping charge would be roughly the same. It could be more with that turret on the top, but like I said, that turret could be removed, from what I'm hearing, and they wouldn't need that windshield replacement. Just something that we're keeping in mind. Also, we're continuing to work on our policy manual. That's still coming along. Our goal is to, at the earliest, to probably have that manual to the Police and Fire Commission for review. Probably delivery on the July meeting, if all goes well. At the latest, probably the September meeting. But we're about, I'd say about a third of the way through our policy manual. We have about, I believe, between 40 and 50 policies that were internally approved, and we have about 110 to go yet. So 110 to 115 that we have to read through and disseminate and make sure that it is in line with what our department is looking at. So be happy to answer any questions you have on that material. Otherwise, I guess look for your acceptance and placing it on file.
Questions for the chief? No questions. Do I need to vote on that?
Place on file.
Place on file. Sounds good to me. Crime report, is there anything in the crime report this month that's notable?
Nothing really, no. One thing I'm noticing is some things are being coded differently, but that's more of an internal issue that we have to get in line with. But otherwise, no, there's nothing significant that, that needs to be brought to your attention.
Thank you, Chief. Review and approval of Department Occupational Preparedness Testing Agreement. That's new, isn't it?
It is. We're looking at going with a department-wide physical fitness standard, having everybody be required to be at the same physical fitness standard of a new hire, which is minimal. I mean, it's a minimum standard for the profession. This is something that we had looked at budgeting for this year, and that was one of those things that I had removed out of the budget in an effort to help with the city, because we were going to be paying, looking to pay an incentive, running the test twice a year, and then paying out an incentive to those officers who voluntarily partook in it and passed the department minimum. In talking with our labor attorneys and also talking with ministry, medical group, the Employer Solutions company, which is one of the companies that we're looking at for the EAP. They recommended, and our attorneys recommended, that we maybe go more towards, rather than just doing a physical fitness test, which would be push-ups, sit-ups, mile-and-a-half run, vertical leap, to do things that are more task or job-oriented, and that's more defensible in court. It's more realistic to the job, and the physical therapists and occupational therapists through Ministry Medical Group are working currently with Wisconsin Rapids PD at putting together this same program, same with Clover PD and Tomahawk PD. So I think this is a trend that you're going to see over the next couple of years. I'd like to jump on it now. I believe that a physical standard within our organization is crucial, not only for the health and well-being of our officers and ordinance officers and the sworn officers, but also for the value that could be there for reduction in healthcare premiums, potential impact, positive impact to the workman's comp insurance, and just overall, I mean, lessening the chances of an officer or employee being injured while off duty. I just having them, meet an annual physical standard is important. What I'm asking, I guess, is approval to continue working with Ministry Medical Group. For them to put this program together for us is going to cost roughly, it's going to be under $5,000, but that's with them coming in and testing the whole police department, setting a standard, and it's a standard that will be defensible in court. It's a same job, same age, same sex standard. One job, one standard is what they look at. It's a 80%, to be defensible in court, it needs to be passed by 80, a percentage, which is 80% of the department. And as long as it's passed by 80% of the department, it's defensible in court. I see it as very valuable to the organization and the community, and I think it would be a good investment. We were planning on budgeting $25,000 to pay out for incentives based on a physical standard that didn't necessarily pertain to the job. This would be something that definitely does pertain to the job. It would be like an obstacle course that's timed, and what the officers are doing is passing or taking part in this obstacle course that's task and job related, which is again what our labor attorney and the professionals here that do this for a living think is in the best interest of the department. So I guess I would just look for approval or agreement that there's value to this and that I could continue working with ministry.
Are we looking at the same thing in the fire department?
We have yearly hazmat physicals that go along with it in terms of that type of thing. Was something we debated about, but we do go through, and everybody goes through a yearly physical as well, but it doesn't go to that standard. So
I guess to add into that, there's the potential that if at some point there would be a partnership with, including the fire department in there or whatever, that there'd be some potential package deals or discounts. Yeah, but nothing that necessarily needs to happen immediately. But I mean, it'd be something because it ends up being an ongoing thing. Because if they come through once a year to do this annual testing of the department. And then they would also assist us with putting together a more job-related testing for new hires as well, which would be a little bit different than the one expected for those that are currently employed. But they would assist us with that as well. So with that recurring cost, I see there being a potential for a discount in having partnership with the fire department.
Does the city have any type of wellness program?
They're working on it. It's the new HR director, Jen Rakey. It's on her list of things to do. And again, this is something that they're looking to partner with potentially Ministry Medical Group, with the EAP, with the wellness, and then again with this occupational preparedness testing would be kind of a package deal down the road. But they are working. Right now there is no wellness program, no formal wellness program. But HR does see the value in it, and I think that they're going to really push for it.
Additional comments or questions? My understanding is that you would like commission support to move forward and spend money on this.
Correct.
Commissioners, are you willing to make a motion to support the chief in this endeavor? And Terry, as you brought up, is the fire department involved? We could make a motion to charge the fire department to explore moving forward with this kind of a program too.
I think it's a great idea. $5,000 is for somebody's health, and I've said, my feelings on these two departments. We got to be physically fit. We got to be ready to protect our community. But I would urge you to explore it, so in a year down the road, they say, well, now we want to do it, and maybe it's $6,000 for both departments to go through the same thing. And then I would like you to, this is only my opinion, I'd like to have you explore with the city, because you made the comment that less insurance costs, but you're running on the city's insurance plan. And I know it's tough to get a reduction in insurance costs with a wellness program. I'm speaking from experience. I would like us to, I don't have a problem making a motion to move forward, but I'd like us to at least research some of these other things to.
In response to that, there was some negotiating on the price already. So I mean, I truly believe that we're getting a good deal on this. The initial cost, estimated cost, was going to be between $7,000 and $9,000. I told them that I didn't think we could do that, and then they came through. I said, well, if we could keep it under $5,000, I think it would be more, more practical to move forward with this. And they were able to accommodate that. They lowered their hourly rate and asked for some of the tasks that they would normally come and work with us together on to maybe just do it remotely, whether it's through teleconference or just, they'll maybe deliver a couple more of those tasks to us. But so they were flexible with that. I also believe that if there is going to be a discount with insurance, it might have to come from the city as opposed to from the insurance company, and them just giving the city, giving maybe a stipend towards that if individuals are passing it or are staying, past the certain to a certain level. I know that, like I said, Jen does have, from HR, does have the interest in the wellness program and does know how beneficial it is. And I know companies like yours, even Terry, uses, a wellness and the EAP program. And
It's a tough
and
program to enforce. And
yeah,
I think it not only do you have physically, your employees are, more physically fit, but you will see immediately the reduction in absenteeism because it's a proven fact that, to get sick and be off for illness is a lot less if you got a strong wellness program. But that's only my point, Andy. I'm not saying
No,
I
and
would oppose it, but I just think we should research it.
No, I think that's fine. I think good points taken. I'm going to suggest that we have a motion to allow the police department to move forward with this initiative. And I'll take it on myself to spend some time with Jennifer, the HR person. I see her on other issues anyway. And maybe with her leadership, we can get some movement forward. I know I've talked to the mayor about this in general terms, and he's certainly favorable. I mean, he would like to see action taken citywide. And I think it would be easier to enforce in the police and fire departments because they are sort of by definition paramilitary organizations, and you have a higher level of control than you would in a normal business, So anyway, I would think at this point, if we want the police department to move forward, we need a motion supporting that effort.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions before we vote on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Motion carries. I'll report back on whatever comes from conversations with the HR department in the city.
I think it's good. I'm pleased that you're starting the process, Rick. I really am. I think somebody's got to start the process, and thank you for doing that.
Fire department activities, training reports and correspondence packet. Chief.
Okay. First thing I'd like to bring your attention is on page 10A. Pete Fletty attended a one-week training from the Reed Interview and Interrogation class. Pete's our newest fire investigator, and this is a big help to him along with that. On page 10B, Deputy Chief Owen attended a transition meeting, which is held here at the station. And this is basically a group of agencies that have come together whose whole purpose is to help people as they're being released from the hospital. How do we keep them away from the hospital and continue on? So what they can do to help with that so that they're not readmitted. Page 10E is one thing that I had previously notified you about. We had that structure fire over at 2207 East 5th Street, which was the self-storage units out there. There was $300,000 estimate of damage, $150 for the building and $150 for contents. My gut feeling is that may be a little bit low, but it's going to take a while before we get some more definitive numbers back on that.
Have you identified the source of that fire yet?
Yes, they have. They know approximately where they came from, but the overall aspect of it's been determined as it's been listed as undetermined. So they have a very good idea of what happened, but it's going to be something. It's going to require some special testing and things like that to prove that theory. And we can't do that testing because this has now become an insurance thing. They will probably do the testing as well because any testing we do would now become a destructive type of testing, so to follow through with the rest of it, which is why it's listed as undetermined.
Is that the same, it was suspicious, would you say suspicious, or would you say undetermined?
Undetermined. So they have done a whole bunch of interviews on that in conjunction. We do have 2 members of the police department that are also a member of our fire investigation team. So between Kelly Esker from our department and Kevin Hamill was the other one they were the main investigators on that. So they think they have a good idea of what happened, but again, it needs to be proven, so it's undetermined, and that will be taken care of by the insurance companies. But actually, this was a very, very good stop, because I don't know if you've ever seen any of those self-storage units. They're stuffed from floor to ceiling, front to back, and it's a lot of fire load that's in a lot of those, and that building, when you're dealing with metal buildings, that becomes a very interesting thing. Each individual unit was not accessible from any other aspect than the front door that was locked with them. So if you've driven by, you've seen approximately what's going on out there. So it was a great stop by the Red Shift on our department, and in conjunction with, we called in Hewitt for additional manpower. It was a manpower type of a call, and we needed a lot of people help, just to even unload those storage units while we were trying to find where the seats of the fire. So that was done very, very well by that, and I've got nothing but praise for both of those. Page 10I, one thing you'll note that's in our training, we're, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're participating in autism training being given by Harry Dolans. Harry is the father of an autistic child, but he's been teaching on autism for 2008, 2007. Simply there isn't any training out there, and he's taken it upon himself to get the knowledge base to do that. It's great training to do with that. I believe that their police are also investigating having Harry come back in again. Both departments have had the training in the past. We've now gone through and gotten a lot of new members, and it's time to bring that forward, of how to deal with these autistic children and adults, and what to do with them when we encounter them. It's very good. Page 10M is a very nice letter from EMT Basic student who did our ride-alongs with us. The reason I really bringing that to your attention is the fact that it's a great service that we do within our department. Not only is it good for the students, but I think it's good for our medics. We spend the time working with these students, and sometimes the teachers become the better educated out of an encounter with a student than the student does. And in that respect, I think it's a great program for our department to participate in. And then on 10N through 10R is some thank you cards from 2 Washington elementary schools that I had the privilege, I was invited to read to them from my favorite book as a child that was their age, so that was a very nice opportunity to do that. That's it.
Any comments or questions of the chief? Hearing none, thank you, and we'll place on file. Thank you. Review and approval of fire and rescue policy 106.1P-T technology usage
Policy.
policy. Are you doing that?
Yes, I'm going to start it. I'm going to turn it over to Scott. We recently rewrote our technology policy because we've been reviewing all of them, and it's one that's been, as you're all aware, that as technology changes, that this is one that we're going to have to revisit more often. This was done in conjunction with our ID department. In your packet, you will see I gave you a clean copy of the policy, and I gave you a copy of all the revisions that were there. And I apologize for the small print on the revisions part, but that's the way it comes out. So with that, I'll turn it over to Scott to kind of bring to mind those things that were changed within that.
So basically, what we did is prior to the change in the policy, cell phones were not allowed to be carried. Limited access to computers, and those types of items. We use a lot of technology on a day-to-day basis, probably very similar to what PD does. We use programs called I Am Responding for calls. The paramedics and EMTs can use drug programs, so they can look up medications, they can look up dosages, and instead of having paper-based, they can actually use them on their phones, their, whatever. It's very quick. They have instant access to any information they need, poisonings, whatever. They can hop online really quick. So the main drive behind this was to allow our employees to use their personal devices for those types of situations. We do not allow them to use Bluetooth headsets, walk around and talk on the phone all day. They're very specific when they can use the phone, when they can't use the phone, what they can do, what they cannot do. I know PD is looking at a policy or is drafting a policy as well, and a lot of the stuff that's in this one is similar to theirs. This was brought up to the officer meeting. The officers pretty much all agreed with it. Couple, little things here and there. But for the most part, everybody understands. Talks about driving with the policy or with the cell phone. If they get a call, business related, they have to stop, pull over. No talking, because it looks bad for us. The other part that was addressed in here more was social media. We had a very small social media policy, and in discussions with IT, we talked about a bunch of different things, and one of the issues that came up was two-way communication on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And two-way communication opens up a lot of problems on the open records laws and stuff like that. So what we've done is we've changed our Facebook to be one-way communication, meaning we send stuff out and people cannot post. They can't reply to us. They can send me messages, and messages are approved. They're not automatically posted, but they cannot post to our site. So it's a way for us to disseminate the information, but not get those people who want to, gripe or complain or whatever, out there. So I guess just in summary, it's an update. It's a current update. And like Chief Haight had said, as technology changes, I'm sure we'll be revisiting this policy and tweaking it as the years go on. But with that, we look for your approval.
I do have a question. Certainly a lot of the employees of the department have like Facebook or Twitter. There is a restriction in there to be able to, nothing department related, that they can post to their personal Facebook pictures and such, right?
Yeah, and the whole social media thing, there have been a lot of cases across the country where individuals on departments have posted things department related or even non-department related, something that happened to them off duty or whatever, but it shows that they're with the department or whatever and has come back to bite them. And so it's addressed in here. Our union president, Lieutenant Breyer, actually presented to every member in the department a social media presentation that he got from, it's called Waltz. It's basically a school for workers type thing, talking about social media and the implications that can happen if you represent yourself as a member of the department and you post something. And every member in the department got that presentation and well received. And I think it opened a lot of eyes.
Maybe, Mike, maybe you could bring this, or address this too, because you might know the answer, but does City Hall have a proxy server that they have reporting of what websites are visited and blocks certain sites? And if that's the case.
There is a program that is manually recording websites that have been visited, and department heads can go into that. Most department heads don't have the access to that anymore. IT will visit through that if there's a reason that they suspect that. But right now, they're also looking at other ways to accomplish the same thing.
Yeah, one of the things with the social media that IT has done is I've linked our department Facebook page and Twitter account to a new program that IT had to work with, and I'm sure PD is getting hit up on it as well, so that in the event something happens, these postings are archived. So in case of an open records request, they're able to go back and pull things out. So it's quite a complex issue when you start talking social media and the government.
Additional comments? Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Anything more before we vote? This would be roll call?
Yes.
I'll call a question then. Myers?
Yes.
Gershman?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Keel? Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of a budget request.
Yes, what I gave you is a copy of Budget Resolution number 11-2016, which I'll be presenting to the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee in the upcoming weeks. Basically, all that is we did get a grant from Enbridge of $1,000 toward the purchase of the final 4 tactical helmets we need for our rescue task force thing. We've talked about that in the past with the bulletproof vests and things like that. This will be the final one. Took a while for that check to arrive. Now that it has, we want to go ahead with that purchase, and so that's all this is going to be. So utilize that money that it was donated for. So I'll be glad to entertain any questions. Otherwise, I ask for your approval.
Questions or comments?
Motion approved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. Myers?
Yes.
Gershman?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Keel? Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Chief. Is there any other business to bring before the Assembly? Hearing none and following Robert's rules, the chair adjourns the meeting.